If you have a presentation coming up that you're nervous about, or you need to get better at presenting in general, you have to watch this video all the way through. I'm gonna share 5 key tips with you to become better at presenting. And here's the thing, most of the advice out there on presenting is not that useful if you're really afraid of presenting, because it's not addressing the underlying cause of that fear, which is a form of social anxiety. Most people don't think of that. They don't talk about themselves having social anxiety when it comes to presenting, but that's exactly what it is. That's my specialty. I'm Dr. Aziz. I'm the founder of the Center for Social Confidence, and I've helped thousands of people break free from social anxiety, and presenting is hands down the #1 place where everybody feels social anxiety to some degree. And you can overcome this, you can shift this. I wanna share how in this video, but you gotta take these steps. So I'm excited for you. Ready? Here we go. #1 is probably the advice you've heard everywhere on the internet, which is rehearsal. You gotta come up with what you're gonna say and practice it. Practice in the mirror, practice in your car, tell yourself, give it to the presentation to your friends and your family. And look, rehearsal is a useful tip. That's why it's tip #1. A little bit of rehearsal goes a long way. In fact, I've seen that the biggest mistake with rehearsal is that people over-rehearse, and they confuse the rehearsal for the actual presentation. And then when they go to give the presentation, one of 2 things happens. This might have happened to you. #1, you actually don't remember everything you rehearsed. You know, the spotlight's on, people are looking at you now, I'm nervous. And we freak out because too much rehearsal and reliance on rehearsal is your only form of preparing means now you think the presentation is the delivery of your rehearsal. And so if you go off the rails or someone asks a question you didn't prepare for, you just gotta jump out the window. There's no solution, right? So we freak out. Or #2, the biggest other problem with rehearsal is that it just sounds really dry and canned, and it's the most disengaging. It sounds like you're reading some paragraph of text that maybe ChatGPT wrote for you, and that doesn't actually engage your audience and help people want to connect with you, buy from you, follow your ideas, or whatever the goal of your presentation is. So here's the key with rehearsal. A little bit goes a long way. Rehearse, go through the outline, say the first couple sentences of your talk, get a general idea, but realize this, rehearsal is about getting warmed up. Rehearsal is about getting familiar with the material. It's not about being able to deliver a perfect speech. Tip #2 for giving an awesome presentation and feeling confident while you do it is to get into the right state. This is a term that you might have heard from NLP or Tony Robbins, who's the king of NLP, which is the right emotional and mental state. What is the right emotional mental state? Well, I'll tell you what the wrong one is, which is what most people go into presentations with, which is something like this. Oh God, oh God, oh God. I hope this doesn't go terrible. Oh God, right? What is that state? Fear, dread, concern, self-absorption. These do not lead to a compelling presentation. So what is the right state? Well, the first thing people say, get in state. Does that mean jump up and down? That could help you. That could shift your physical energy. In fact, that's a useful tool. But often state is not just about your physical energy. It's about where you're focusing. What is the meaning you're making of this situation? So what is the purpose of your presentation? That's a key question to ask yourself to get in the right state. What is the purpose of this? And if your purpose is, I gotta get through it, you gotta do better than that. You're not gonna have much energy for that. Or I just better not mess up. Okay, that's also low energy. Or I gotta get them to like me. Or I gotta get them to buy this thing. That might say, Aziz, that's the point. It's a sales. Now you might say, Aziz, that's the point. It's a sales presentation. I gotta get them to buy from me. Yeah, but ultimately, what's the point, right? What's the point for the buyer? Or if it's B2B, the company that's gonna buy it's gonna sell it to their consumer. Like, what is the ultimate purpose of this? You wanna connect with something bigger than, I hope I don't get in trouble and people don't like me. That's not, you're gonna be in a fear protective state no matter how much you jump up and down if that's your focus. So why do I want to give the presentation? Am I here to connect? Am I here to influence? Why? What's the impact of that? Before I'm going to teach with an audience, before I record a video like this, I focus on you. I really think about the person I'm talking to and what is the effect that I want to have in their life. And I really imagine it. I'll take a specific person from my audience and imagine them being more free and confident and all the ripple effect of that in their life. And all of a sudden, boom, your anxiety just disappears because now you're focused outside of yourself on a larger impact. So why are you giving the presentation? Keep asking yourself and focusing on things until you feel more energized, more inspired, less self-absorbed, less self-protective, less scared. Tip #3. Oh, and then after that, if you want to jump up and down, pound your chest, say yes, that's fine too. Just don't do it right before the meeting in the conference room or on the Zoom call. Maybe if it's a virtual meeting or something, make before you sign on, jump up and down like a maniac, put on a favorite song. That can be helpful. That can energize your physical body. But the key thing here is the focus. focus. Okay, tip number 3. This is another component of focus, but that's during the presentation. Who do you focus on? Now, the number one mistake that people made, and I made this for years, is when you're giving the presentation, you focus on who? The person who looks the most disinterested or disliking or upset with you, right? I remember the very first time I gave a presentation, well, the very first time I had a panic attack, but later on when I knew I wanted to give more presentations, I would sign up for them, I'd volunteer, which is getting ahead to tip number 4, but I would look for opportunities, I would give the presentations, and guess who I would focus on? I would focus on the guy in the back on his cell phone who looked like he didn't want to be there. And then I'd be like, oh, this is going terribly wrong, oh no, right? And that is, we're gonna sink your presentation. So who do you focus on when you're giving the presentation? Focus on the people that are the most engaged with you. Focus 90% of your energy on the people that are the most engaged with you, the person who's nodding, the person who's taking notes, the person who's there with you, connected with you. And then occasionally, you don't have to ignore the other people, but occasionally look at them, the guy on his cell phone, like, look, I'm not afraid, I'm talking to you too, guy on your cell phone. And now I'm gonna bring my energy back to the people who are really here with me, right? Because otherwise, you're just gonna start to get in your head, you're gonna spiral, you're gonna spin out, and just don't focus energy on that person. You don't need to get everyone there to like you. That's not your purpose, remember? What is your purpose? Connect to that, ground in that, and you're gonna have way more power and confidence to actually influence the people that are open to you while you're talking. So focus on those people. Tip number 4 is the mother of skill, which is repetition. This comes back to good old-fashioned behaviorism and gradual exposure, which is you keep doing the thing that you're scared of, and over time your nervous system realizes one key insight, which is, I did not die. I didn't die. And so that's what I started doing. I remember the first presentation I had, I literally had a panic attack in front of a group of about 80 people. I was a computer science student back at UC Santa Barbara, and I gave it there. I'd never given a presentation in my life. I went to a very small high school. There's not that many people there. I mean, I did some stuff in front of my class, but it was like 20 kids. Now I'm in this room of 80 people. I'm gonna give a presentation on a project that I've been doing with my 3 computer science buddies. I was the first one. I was okay talking to them. They're like, oh, you know your stuff. You should go, lead us off in the talk. And I said, okay, guys. And I got out there into the group. And it was like an auditorium style seating. And I was looking at the people, and I had my notes, and I wasn't even that nervous ahead of the presentation. I didn't even know to be afraid yet. And then I got in that situation. I looked at the group of people and I felt, oh no, there's a lot of people here. They're all looking at me. And I started to breathe. And the only problem is I only breathed in and I didn't breathe out. And I just had this total anxiety, overwhelmed, started to sweat out of my armpits. I'm freaking out. And then my buddies, Mo and Phil, looking over at me. It's like, I don't think he's gonna do anything. And so Mo walked in, he's like, all right, we're gonna start talking. And I just kind of receded into the background for the whole presentation, just lost my shit. It was terrible. So after that, well, actually a number of years later, when I decided I was gonna take control of my confidence, I realized I need confidence not just to approach and to date and social confidence, I wanna be comfortable in front of a group of any size. And so I started to go to places to look for opportunities to speak up. And there is nobody who becomes confident at public speaking or presenting without doing a lot of repetition. Nobody. Every single person that you think is just unnatural has done this dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of times. I might say thousands. I don't got that kind of time, Aziz. Look, you don't have to do thousands to be more confident at this, but it's this energy shift when you say, I'm gonna seek this out versus, oh God, I hope they don't call on me. That's how most people are. So what does this look like? This means when you're in work meetings on Zoom or in person, you speak up more. You might say, well, I'm not scared in that environment. Good, do it more, because the more you do it there, you might be a little nervous there. So good, that's a light level weight to start lifting to build that gradual exposure muscle. Then you go to places that are a little more intimidating. Then you look for new and unique opportunities. Every time I've been at a friend's wedding and they've asked me to share, I said, yes, absolutely, I'll give a toast in front of everybody for you. Why? Because it's looking for those opportunities. And it's sad because a lot of people I know are at someone they love's wedding or anniversary or something, and they want to share, and they have all this sentiment in their heart, and they can't even share it because they're afraid of presenting in front of all these people. So not only is this going to give you more confidence, it's going to open up your life in new and exciting ways too. Tip number 5, which is the real secret to preparation that nobody's talking about. When everyone says preparation, they just mean tip number 1, which is rehearsal, which we already talked about some of the pitfalls with, right? So what is the real secret to presenting and preparing for that presentation so you can give it with confidence? It is actually to prepare yourself emotionally, not just the word, because if the emotion is flowing, you're gonna give a great presentation and you're gonna look good doing it. So what does that mean? It means before the presentation, whenever you start thinking about, maybe it's 2 weeks ahead, if you're really nervous, maybe it's a month ahead, maybe it's 2 days before, I want you to actually imagine yourself, you can sit down and close your eyes as you do this, imagine yourself giving the presentation, online, in person, it doesn't matter. And then you're gonna notice something. You're either gonna feel excited, relaxed, confident, or something other than that. Maybe dread, maybe tight, maybe anticipation, maybe panic. I don't know. It doesn't matter what you feel. What you want to do is you want to actually bring your full attention to the feeling in your body. This is called the peace process. I teach it if you go to my site, notnicebook.com, and enter your email there. There's a whole guided audio about how to do this. But you basically are going to sit with that feeling. It's a somatic tracking technique. You're going to sit with that feeling and not try to resist it, not try to fight it, not try to get rid of it, not try to think your way out of it, not to analyze where it came from 25 years ago. No, this moment you're just going to be with the feeling. And when you do that, it actually discharges the tension energy and creates a fight, flight to parasympathetic response. So instead of being, oh God, oh God, oh God, it's, I'm okay. And now in your mind, in your psyche, presenting is okay. And that kind of preparation, if you do that and get into states of calm beforehand, it will change everything for you. So I highly encourage that you practice that. So these tips will help you transform your experience of presenting. I want to hear about it. And if you really want to take this further and you want to build that muscle of confidence, the best way to do that I know of is through my program, Confidence University, which is 4 courses that will guide you to core confidence, social confidence, dating relationship confidence, career confidence, including presenting, so you can show up as the most bold, powerful, confident version of you. Go to my website, draziz.com, draziz.com, and just click on products there. You can learn all about Confidence University. And please share down in the comments below what you're finding most valuable. Until we speak again, you have the courage to be who you are and to know on a deep level that you're awesome.